The Egyptian-brokered ceasefire between Gaza militants and Israel seems to be holding up. Today brought a significant drop in the cross-border violence. It's the end of the day here, but only 2 rockets and a number of mortars have been fired from Gaza. That's a lot less than the 50-plus rockets that were being launched each day. Israel has also held its fire. The Israeli Air Force has not carried out any airstrikes in Gaza. Surveying the south, Israel's Defense Minister Ehud Barak is now describing the situation as relatively calm. Now, this latest round of violence may be over, but as the Israeli army spokesperson points out, ceasefires in Gaza never bring peace and quiet.
I think the term ceasefire is problematic in the sense that if you look back last year, you'll see 620 rockets that were launched at Israel. So the firing is ongoing.
The best Israeli leaders can hope for is to get the rocket fire down to a trickle. The message they've tried to send to Gaza militants this time around is that retaliation for rockets will be immediate and unrelenting.
Israel, I think, is doing a very, very good job of, giving its citizens a message that this cannot continue.
Both sides are claiming victory in the 4 days of fierce fighting. Israel says it successfully protected civilians in the south, in no small part by employing the Iron Dome anti-missile defense system. It shot down 90% of the rockets it targeted, rockets that were heading for populated cities. No Israelis were killed, despite over 200 rockets being fired. Israel also says it eliminated a number of top Islamic Jihad militants.
As a matter of fact, out of 25 or 26 people that were killed, approximately 22 were militants, mostly from the Islamic Jihad. We can identify them by name. Most of them, the 95% of them, were actually terrorists that were preparing to launch rockets from launching pits or from backyards with a launcher in their hands. So we can definitely say and know who we targeted.
Islamic Jihad is also claiming victory in the latest round of violence. The terrorist group supported by Iran is touting itself as the new leader of Palestinian resistance. Its power struggle with Hamas was on view for all to see, and some analysts argue that the rocket fire was an attack on Hamas authority as much as it was on Israel. Hamas didn't join in the rocket fire and worked instead to prevent an escalation. Some believe the Arab Spring has made Hamas and even Fatah nervous over how powerful the Arab street can be. Improving governance and the economy are more important than another war in Gaza.
And I think both the Hamas and Fatah realize that if they don't wise up and if they don't change their ways, they're going to find themselves on the same kind of trajectory as President Hosni Mubarak or Muammar Gaddafi, or many of the other Arab leaders.
Israeli officials are hoping the tentative ceasefire holds, but warn they are willing to go back into Gaza if necessary.
We are here to defend the people of Israel. This is why we're called the Israeli Defense Forces, and we intend to do everything in order to fulfill this mission. If it would need a larger scale operation, we are ready for this kind of an option, of course.
But most analysts don't believe Israel will send its soldiers into Gaza anytime soon. The Israeli public is in no mood for another war. And now Israeli leaders have a new factor they must consider: the political leadership, the new political leadership of Egypt. Will the ruling council there and the Islamist-leaning parliament sit idly by if Israel embarks on another military operation in Gaza? Jordana Miller, JN1, Jerusalem.